We go in tech. Berlin, this is not how you get your avocado in less than 10 minutes. We go deep and we go with our great jurors. Let me present to you Jasmin from the IECT. We have Florian from Picus here. We have Oliver from Unternehmertum, UVC. I always get this wrong. Marc from Ignite and Elisabeth from btov. You know the rules. 5 minutes for each startup. 2 minutes presentation, 3 minutes Q&A, and 1 minute where you will have to listen to my jokes that I have pre-prepared. Okay, first on stage, Dymium. You guys are extracting kidney stones so they become collectibles. Great.
Check. Yeah. All right, kidney stones really hurt. Over 1.9 million people in Europe and the USA needed medical intervention every single year. Today, the surgeon would fragment the stones with a laser, collect each and every fragment with the tool called a basket. But this is problematic because small stones and stone fragments get left behind. More than 30% of all patients return for a follow-up procedure every single year, and this is due to the residual fragments. We have come up with a completely different approach to solve this problem. We have come up with the fluid based on magnetic separation technology that turns stone fragments into magnetic objects. Now, a surgeon can simply introduce our instrument and extract all the stones without residues in fewer iterations and more of them at once, like shown here in our demo video. And that's about it. And that is our USP. Okay? All right, we'll work with it. And that's our USP, 0% residue-based recurrence. That is 0% follow-ups due to residual fragments, game-changing user experience for the surgeons. The hospitals profit from a method that is 30% faster, and insurances save billions every single year. And this we plan to package as a combination product, and with a price of 500 euros, we estimate our market at about €1 billion. With this team, ranging from Florian, Michael, Sebastian, we hold the core competences in the founding team, and led by KOLs like Dr. Miernik, we're hoping for a market entry in 2024. This opportunity would help us de-risk the technology and become the new gold standard for kidney stone extraction. Thank you for your time.
Great. You stay with me, Jasmin.
I'd like to invite Flo on the stage for a couple of questions.
Well, thank you for your presentation. Maybe to understand where you're standing at the moment, do you run clinical trials? Do you need CE in order to enter the market?
We're in the preclinical phase right now, and we're going into animal studies next year. And we are looking at a sum total of 500,000 euros within the next half a year in order to fund the preclinical trials in animals. And we currently have a prototype that we tested in organs from the butcher, from pig kidneys. And we can guarantee 99.7% residue-free extraction.
Maybe coming to your patent, as I see it, you have two components. You have this instrument and also the fluid.
Correct, yeah.
What exactly is included in the patent? Both components and the process as well?
That's correct.
And maybe also another question which interests me, because you say that the fluid makes the kidney stones magnetic. What is with other upbuilds that you may have in your joints? For example, if you have arthritis, are they also affected?
So first, the patent-related question. We have two patents pending. One is for the magnetic fluid, and the second one is for the extraction tool and the magnetizing and the magnetized removal of biomineral surfaces. So technically, we can engineer the particles to work with any kind of biomineral surface, and also for future applications in drug delivery and tumor diagnosis and labeling. And this is our first use case, and this is the only one that we have in TRL 5.6, and this is the first one we want to bring to market. And to answer the other question, with arthritis and everything else, since this is introduced through the ureter into the kidney, There is no contact with blood and doesn't come into circulation. And since the procedure involves using 0.9% saline, the surgeon uses that to rinse the kidney throughout the procedure, all the particles just come out. The selective binding is our secret sauce.
Can you talk a little bit more about the business model, the pricing, and also the value proposition for the customers?
Can you go value chain? Here?
Yeah, so in Germany currently 2,500 euro is reimbursed per kidney stone patient, and we want to charge 400 euros of that. So we hope for a fast market adoption because there's a current reimbursement already in place, and we're using that one to scale within Germany. And yeah, we have a contract manufacturer for the fluid and the extraction tool. We estimate the costs for that around 100 euro per patient, and we want to sell it for 400 euros so that we have enough of a margin to make a profitable company. Yeah.
And are your customers actually the clinics and the hospitals?
Yes, exactly. The hospital is the buyer. They buy. They are single purchasers, or they buy many times in buying groups, and then they get the reimbursement from the insurance company. So the hospital and the surgeon are the most important stakeholders for our business model.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Guys, give it for Dymium. Next on... Thanks, guys. Next on stage is Compular, and we're going energy. These guys are disrupting the value chain in battery development. Come on.
It's hard to imagine, but this is actually how engineers used to create new products, with drawing boards and pen and paper. And now, no one in their right mind would use anything but CAD tools to do this. In the same way, material engineers are used to creating new products in the lab. Until now. We are Compular, and we bring material development into the digital era. With Compular, we put the lab in the computer and optimize new materials using our novel AI. We enable developers to simulate hundreds of chemical compositions, and our technology is patent pending and stems from years of research at Chalmers University. The benefits for our customers are less time to reach optimal chemical compositions, less R&D costs, and creation of materials that might not even be possible by using other methods. Our initial market segment is the fast-growing battery industry, where we enable a green energy transition. And we also have many other markets that we can expand into. We aim to be an integral part of our customers' R&D process, bringing maximum benefits to them with a SaaS business model. We have conducted pilot projects with leading battery developers, and the feedback has been so great that we're moving into paid beta press testing program with those customers and are ready to launch our product in 2022. We have a competent and balanced team with driven business developers with competencies ranging from sales, design, and finance, and leading technical developers with PhDs in engineering physics and a renowned battery researcher as advisor. Our vision is that soon material developers won't remember the time where they didn't use simulations as part of their R&D process. If you want to know more, please reach out at hello@compilarte.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Florian, grill them.
Yeah, first of all, thanks a lot for the presentation, really impressive. One question I had was, you're obviously going after one of the segments where everyone is after at the moment, with big bucks also at the same time. You're coming essentially with a new idea, new technology here. What makes you think that you can compete with companies spending billions and billions of dollars into battery development, and probably also in the processes behind it, and not just the pure research? So why do you think you are in the right position to make it more efficient, essentially?
Yeah, so we have a lot of expertise and experience from the battery industry, and that's how the research behind our technology is from studying battery electrolytes. And there we saw that there were no better or even other tools to do this. So we base it off of a method called molecular dynamics, and then we have our own algorithms and our own machine learning. And the feedback we get from customers is basically that their alternative to using our tool would be to collaborate with universities or research institutes.
Okay, and you're planning to distribute it via software as a service, so actually a product without hopefully not a lot of intervention and project-related work. Is that the case? Because I would imagine every company developing batteries has very own processes, has very own development cycles, etc. So how much customization is really needed in order to go live with a customer? And does this always require a couple of months POC, or how quickly can you go live with really production, essentially?
Great question, and that's where we really are working right now to create a user-friendly product that can be used for basically anyone with just experimental experience. You shouldn't have to be a computational physicist or chemist to use our product. And so that's where we put a lot of our focus right now in development, in creating the product, basically. And what we're doing right now in the beta testing is that we are letting our customers tinker with the product, build it into their workflow, so that they are used to having this in their R&D process. And then when we go live, that would be another pricing model, but it will still be hopefully also a better product.
And are you essentially saying, look, this is the workflow you need to follow, or can each customer modify the platform on themselves to replicate their workflows, essentially? Yeah,
so they can modify it, and there are two main benefits. The first one is that they usually use it as a screening process. So you screen a bunch of different materials, and you take the most promising candidates into the lab, and you test them to further develop. But there are also many qualitative insights that you get from this program. So you could also just use it to understand your materials and your products better.
Perfect. Thank you.
Brilliant. Give it for Compular. So next on stage is Lignovations from beautiful Vienna. How is your government doing? I mean, at least you have one. So you will show us how you would bring us into a bio-based economy.
Exactly. Thanks a lot. I guess you know what this is, right? It's conventional sunscreen. You know what? This sunscreen is soon going to be banned. And that's already happening. And why? Because the UV filter contained in this sunscreen are chemicals that are related to causing hormonal dysfunction and cancer in the human body. And they accumulate in ecosystems and destroy coral reefs, for example. My name is Martin. I'm co-founder and CEO at Lignovations, and we are going to solve this problem. With our patented process, we produce a powerful ingredient for industry directly out of arbitrary biomass. Our product, colloid lignin, acts as a superior and multifunctional UV protecting agent in sunscreens. And cosmetics is only the beginning, because we plan to expand also towards varnishes, packaging, and textiles. But who's we? That's Team Lignovations. We're a group of 3 chemical engineers from TU Wien with over 40 years of practical expertise. We're complemented by great business people and supported by high-ranked advisors. We have already developed first and consumer products together with industry partners. We have proven the performance and processability of our material, and industry partners confirm their high interest in implementing our ingredient to improve their own products. The market potential is enormous. We're talking about $19 billion of total addressable market size. We will focus on UV protection in cosmetics in the first place because of the biggest pains and the biggest product prices. And now we want to make the next step towards market exploitation. We will build up a prototypical pilot plant to produce our product and to sell it to our first customers. Thanks.
Lignovations, your lead juror is Oliver.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the presentation. Quite impressive. It seems like a very relevant topic I haven't heard too much about yet. Can you let me know a little bit about the background story of this? How did you come up with this? What is your area of expertise here? And how did you identify this as a pressing need?
Back at the university, in our research group, we researched biorefinery concepts for decades, I would say. And we also always had lignin in mind because this is one of the most undervaluated biomass component in the world. Think of pulp and paper industries. And it was one day in the lab when a PhD student of us played around with some solutions, found out that at a very special condition, when mixing things together, he was able to produce very small particles with very high performance issues. And this now is our USP.
So the core of the technology is really about having the very small size particles of lignin, and that can only be produced with that production technology, is that right? Exactly, that's it. Very small particles, but controllable, so to avoid the nanomaterial border, let's say, so we can really adjust the particle size around 120, 140 nanometers. Cool. And can you talk a little bit about your actual product and your strategic positioning? Is it more about the IP that you are developing that are then be used by, I don't know, process industry? Are you building the machinery around it to control the process? Or do you actually sell the material?
This will be our main business model, produce our product and sell it to the market.
Okay.
For the first place, and afterwards, when it comes for scaling up, of course, we're also considering joint venturing or sub-licensing that to other companies.
And how come you consider that to be the best strategic positioning versus, for instance, developing just the research and the technology and then maybe teaming up with a production plant?
Yeah, in our team, we have the expertise for this process engineering. So this is one of the core competencies that we have in the team. So we think we are well equipped to build the large production plant or to lead the construction of the production plant and have this keep this technology also to ourselves, so it doesn't go out of our hands and can be copied by other players.
Mm-hmm. And in your presentation, you mentioned regulatory change as a main driver of the market. Is there an organic pull from the market for this kind of material, or is this heavily driven by this regulation change?
Yeah, so the regulation is something that is coming up and of course an issue in the back of the mind, but this is actually driven by customer demand, so end customers, the people that are actually using, for example, sunscreen or other products. We've been talking to a lot of producers of sunscreens and cosmetic products, and they feel the pull from the end customers, from the markets, especially in the growing segment of natural cosmetics. It's a real issue that, especially for UV filters, there's no UV filter on the market that they can use that is really unproblematic, and we're trying to change that.
Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks. Give it to Lignovations. Thank you, guys. Next on stage, we're going northeast from Riga, TexTech. I must admit, I have no idea what you guys are doing because you are recording emotional states. And as a lawyer, I'm not prone to emotional states. But you will guide us through this. Give it to TexTech.
Hi, I'm Marita, CEO of TexTech. I want to tell you how we will transfer your emotions to the data. I have a friend, kind and thoughtful. He was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. He can't really understand what makes him crying or experience positive emotions. He waited for the first visit to the therapist for 6 months, and one visit cost 60 euros. I have always been impressed by the work of therapists. However, they lose a lot of effective time in making a subjective assessment of one's emotional state. And we have created a solution. It's a smart bracelet equipped with innovative textile sensors. It is not the matter of recording the data. It is the matter of knowing when the patient feels anxious. The device is capable to record the data real time and save the measurements for further analysis. In comparison to our competitors, we have unique data interpretation, and our secret source is textile technology, which is created in Latvia. Our provisional price for the device is 190 euros. That is why this bracelet must be on your hand. So already 5 Latvian institutions are ready to collaborate with us. Additionally, technology have also other application fields. 2 Latvian and 2 abroad research centers are ready to be part of our pilot project this year. Our holistic team is ready to test not only technology, but also the device. We have received some grants from university, but now we're looking for funding to develop devices' functionality and marketing. So, what do you think about digital therapist, which is available 24/7? Thank you.
Thank you, TexTech. Marc, your stage.
Presentation. I think, yeah, recording or in general showing emotional states and understanding more about health is super important for us nowadays. I mean, a lot of people are wearing Fitbits, you mentioned it in your competitors, or Apple Watches, or Aura rings, and all this sorts. How is, you skipped over the competitive slide quite fast, I didn't have a chance to look at it, but like, how would you say you position against these traditional health trackers?
Thank you. So we are looking to show in a more friendly and more green life forward. So therefore our technology is helping to replace standard electrodes, which are quite electric, and this is actually part of our clothes. So our focus is on skipping those old gadgets, what you have on your hand, with so many actually measurements who no one is using. And we want to integrate it in our clothes. So this is what we are going to be better from other.
Understood. And so you mentioned you have this bracelet at first. That's sort of like your MVP or your prototype for proving out that you can actually record the emotional states and all these different like health trackers. How are you planning to build it into, like, are you planning to build it into the rest of the clothes or augmenting this bracelet a bit?
Thank you. Yes, it's possible to measure this specific vital parameter of the human from different body parts. And that's how we are going to do. The first prototype is for bracelet just because it's easier for our team now to test it. But we are looking forward to also apply it to other body parts, because we have already made a research where we found that it's possible to also measure this measurement from the shoulders and also from the neck and from the ears, and not only. So we have a lot of job to do.
Okay, a lot of body parts to explore. And I guess this comes out of the research that you did in university. Is this technology patented to some extent, or and where is this IP located? Is it in your company or is it part of the universities?
University.
Okay, but it's patented, right? Like as it is?
No.
Okay, and how is it? What's sort of your? Would it be hard for other companies to sort of like explore this area as well and just copy it, or is there some?
No, because I can also reply to your question. I have also this collaboration with university, with main researchers, and also with the people who created actually this technology. But also for me, they don't tell exactly how this material is created. So that's how we are using and collaborating. It's all about collaboration. Okay. Together is the power.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
TexTech. So, we're going to beautiful Dublin. The next one is very close to my heart because these guys are doing the good work. I mean, all of them are, but one of my best friends is a prostate cancer survivor. And so guys, come on stage.
Hello, guten Tag, we are Remedy, and we are so excited to present our product, PSA, for you today. So first, I just want to give a quick background on a problem that's affecting millions of people worldwide, prostate cancer. 1 in 7 men will experience prostate cancer in their lifetime. PSA, or prostate-specific antigen, is a chemical produced by the prostate. It is a key indicator of the presence of prostate cancer. It is vital that patients keep track of their PSA levels as to not let their illness deteriorate. In Europe, 450,000 men are diagnosed every year with prostate cancer.
Prostate cancer patients do not monitor their PSA levels regularly enough. Well, why is this? This is due to the current PSA monitoring timeline, which is time-consuming, expensive, and quite frankly, is an uncomfortable experience for the user due to the invasive nature of the procedure. Prostate cancer patients also suffer from incontinence, which makes it more difficult for them to travel to the doctor. With PS8, the process is quick, affordable, and can be completed from the comfort of your own home.
Welcome to the future of PSA testing. Introducing PS8. PS8 provides the user with quantitative and personalized data that can be viewed through the accompanying app by both patient and their doctor.
We, the founders, come from a design background, so we've onboarded a number of industry professionals who've helped us along the way and are happy to continue in the future, from hospitals as well as big corporations.
The PS8 base unit will yield a profit margin of 76%. Our continuous revenue stream, the refill packs, will yield a profit margin of 84%.
Remedy will work closely with large healthcare providers such as the Federal Ministry of Health, with whom we will share anonymized data. This will work as an additional revenue source.
So Remedy's roadmap for the next few years: we will start by building a working prototype as a proof of concept. We will expand the team in years to come. We will launch the PS8 in year 2022. We will seek further investment so we can expand into larger markets like the United States and all of Europe. Thank you for listening. We are Remedy.
Great, Remedy. Elisabeth, your turn.
Thank you very much, guys. Great pitch and great topic. Can you briefly explain what's the novelty of that device? Is this a sensor technology, or is it integrating existing sensor technology into a new device?
It's very much existing light sensor technology, so we're not exactly reinventing the wheel here, but we're just applying the technology to a new use case scenario. It basically just works as a normal reagent test that's then inserted into the device, and then the light sensor scans the test cassette, and that can detect the amount of change in the user's PSA levels in their blood.
Okay, thank you. That means you don't have to go through a number of clinical trials to validate the product.
Yeah, so we were talking to a person in a hospital, and he said that our device might be a class 2A product, which means that there's not too much clinical trials and testing, so they won't be too expensive, but the FDA approval will still need to be funded and all that.
Okay, and do you have any proof points of the precision of that technology? What kind of maybe fallbacks can it detect, something like metastasis, or in comparison to other test techniques like the rectal examination, etc., or urine testing?
So with all those tests, they can be done from the hospital, and there are some competitors out there that do a similar test, but there still is a lot of pain points involved in that, and all you need to get the result is a drop of blood. With the urine sample and other samples like that, it's a large amount needed. So, and the rectal exam is obviously a very invasive thing, and patients feel ashamed, then they don't want to actually go and do these rectal exams. So ours is just a single drop of blood. So.
Yeah, understood. Do you have some kind of disposables in that system?
Yes, we have some disposables right now. In the future, we plan to make this stream a lot more sustainable, trying to source more sustainable products. But as of right now, there's a refill pack, which you mentioned. It has a test strip, a lancet, and our proprietary solution. So there's a little bottle solution. But we plan to maybe pick that up and try to reuse some products.
And who is going to pay for that solution, for the at-home practice?
So our current consumer would be the men who already are diagnosed with prostate cancer. So these people going to the doctor and they got the diagnosis, you have prostate cancer. So we plan to target them and they will pay for it. Also, for our older consumers, sometimes governments and insurance companies pay for these entities, so we'll be also looking at them to lower people's insurance premiums so they don't have to pay as high cost.
Great.
Thank you.
That was it. Remedy. Guys, thanks. Greetings to Dublin. All right. Next on stage is NanoPyl, and I had to write this down. NanoPyl is fighting an infection that's called Helicobacter pylori, and that word would give you 64 points at Scrabble, and that is a fact. So on stage, NanoPyl.
Hi. My name is Paula, and I'm here to introduce you to NanoPyl. It's virtually impossible that you don't know anyone that hasn't been diagnosed with a bacteria called Helicobacter pylori. Why? Because 50% of the world population has it. In fact, 90% of all the gastric cancer cases, the fifth most common and the fourth deadliest, are caused by infection with this bacteria. The available treatment, based on antibiotics, fails in 40% of the patients, meaning 1.6 billion are left without treatment. And that's why we developed NanoPyl, that maintains a healthy stomach and kills Helicobacter pylori. NanoPyl are patented lipid nanoparticles that work without antibiotics, without side effects, and without induction of bacterial resistance. Our market is global, but we plan to start with the 6 European countries with the highest incidence of infection, meaning we can reach close to 72 million people only on these 6 countries. Our business model has a total production cost of 7.5 euros, and our entry market price is set at 20 euros, giving us a gross margin of 66% that can still be improved. On the competitive landscape, we have on one side probiotics. They only ameliorate symptoms. NanoPyl treats infection. And we have antibiotics that fail and have severe adverse side effects. We finished the product development, and we are currently to undergo GMP scale-up and pilot clinical trials to have our market entry by late 2022 in Portugal, followed by Spain, and then start expanding to other European markets. NanoPyl stems from scientific research, and we are also backed up by key opinion leaders in the field. What we need a total investment close to 800K diluted over 5 years. We hope that you want to join us, invest in NanoPyl, because NanoPyl, healthy gut, happy life. Thank you.
Thank you, NanoPyl. Jasmin, your questions.
For the presentation, first of all, I have to say I think it's great that you are 3 female co-founders.
Thanks.
To summarize what I understood, you have these lipid nanoparticles that eradicate the Helicobacter pylori. How does this actually work? Is it binding and transporting it out of the body?
No, they work by contact killing. They just interact with the bacteria and they just kill it without any drugs. In fact, these lipids are already FDA approved. They are used as, in other drugs as excipients. So when we combine these in a lipid nanoparticle and when it comes in contact with the bacteria, it disrupts its membrane. It's like it explodes the bacteria in a more easier way to explain. So it's physical contact. The particle interacts with the bacteria and it dies.
You said that you are already approved and did run your clinical trials.
No, the lipids separately, they are FDA approved. We did in vitro and in vivo testing, and we have already arranged with one of our clinical advisors to start the pilot clinical trials at the hospital as soon as we can proceed.
Do you have a patent?
Yes.
Is it yours or is it at the university?
We are currently signing the transfer agreement to have the patent to our startup. So it's already being taken care of.
Can you tell me a little bit more about your history? Have you been a research group at the university that is now founding?
Yeah, so I started working with Helicobacter pylori almost 16 years ago. I did my PhD on that with another of our co-founders, Cristina Martins. She was my PhD advisor. And over the past years, we've been developing several other strategies to fight against Helicobacter. So it's our main core, our goal to have a non-antibiotic solution towards this bacteria. And we also have HUT, that it's also part of our research group. And in the meantime, while we were developing, we gathered a lot other key opinion leaders like Professor Marcius Leja and Professor Mari Diniz, that are medical doctors and that really want to get NanoPyl into the market.
You said you want to raise around 800K. What are you going to do with this money?
So the first 300K, are for having the pilot clinical trial, the GMP production that we've already contacted a German-based company to do that, and to start doing the pilot clinical trials, and that's for all the regulatory affairs to have this entering the market. And after that, it's for market expansion and possibly other pipelines that can come in shape in the scenario for NanoPyl.
Do you already have a salesperson in your team?
No. Right now it's just us, so we're really trying to get NanoPyl to the next stage.
Okay, thank you.
That was NanoPyl from Porto. Thank you. Right. Now it's getting excited. We're leaving Earth and we go into space, you know, the territory that many US multi-billionaires have chosen to deal with their midlife crisis. And on stage now, Arkadia.
Have you heard that space will be the next trillion economy? You know why? I'm going to tell you. Now that it's so cheap to put satellites into orbit, especially because of companies like SpaceX, a new emerging market is coming. The era of space logistics. Now companies can provide services in orbit like space junk removal, satellite transportation, satellite reparation, and even satellite refueling. Services that contribute to a sustainable use of space. And all these companies have one thing in common. They need mobility to provide the service. They need engines. But Houston, we have a problem. Traditional engines were designed 30 years ago, and they do not fit the needs of the emerging market. They use cancerogenic propellants, and on top, they are super expensive, especially because of the use of these propellants that makes the development and the operation of these engines very expensive. This is why we are here, to design innovative engines that uses green propellants, reducing up to 60% the cost of the propulsion systems. This is our system, a modular propulsion engine to rule them all. And this is our bet, a market that is growing 22% annually and is sized in more than 1 billion by 2030. Who buys our engines? At the end, what we do is design, develop, and sell green engines for all kinds of satellites and space platforms. We have talked to many customers that have helped us in conceiving the engines, and we have signed more than 7 letters of intent valued in $10 million. The team, the most important asset of the company. We were the first developing a rocket engine in Spain, having worked for more than 4 years together. And now we are developing the testing facilities to have a prototype tested next year, and in 2023 we will have a seed round of more than 1 million euros and our first test flight. Sky is not the limit. You want to go beyond with us? I'm Franco Garcia, co-founder and CEO of Arkadia Space. Thanks for the attention.
Love this, Arkadia. Love this. You have a lot of fans in here. Florian.
Thanks a lot for the presentation. Very futuristic. So maybe the first question, on what timeline are you actually seeing this deployment of space motors, right? I mean, when is, because it's still super early. I think everything is getting started, and until there's really a need for the ecosystem which will evolve around it, might take a couple of years. So what's your timeline for this?
For our development or for the market?
Until the market really,
The market is there already.
Off.
The market is there, and there are already companies providing in-orbit services, space transportation, and actually space junk removal, and even reparation of satellites. So the market is there. What it lacks is the affordable propulsion systems. The competition that we have today is getting all the orders, because there's no much more out there. So we actually have to run to catch all the market that is coming.
Okay. Where does the product stand today? So how, is it like still all in theory? How much capital would you actually need really to test it in a realistic environment?
With the money that we have closed already, we expect to have the testing facilities, which is for us the most important thing, and for a propulsion company the most important thing, ready next year. And next year, at the beginning of the next year, we will start testing the engine. We are now talking to the manufacturers to have the product ready by the first quarter and start the testing of the prototypes. And we would like to fly it the next year, in 2023.
Okay, and the testing facilities, how is that? Is that something you need to be involved in building, or is it something you can just get from a supplier, which is easy to do?
We will do it ourselves.
Okay.
I mean, we have been working in a rocket company in the past. We were the ones leading the testing. And we will be actually the first ones in Europe having a 100% privately managed company, testing facility in Europe, which for us gives us a lot of agility and speed in the development. And we will do it all ourselves because we already did in the past and we will do it now. And we signed a contract with the airport of Castellón. An airport is a perfect environment to make noise and test, and we have all the capabilities to expand out there.
And how do you see the go-to-market? Because I would imagine the number of customers you can address is super limited, meaning a very targeted effort, and you need a lot of credibility to sell into these.
So our strategy is in this slide. So here you have on the left the emerging market, companies that they want to run the risk to get a affordable system, but it's not flight qualified yet. But they want to run the risk. We are already talking to them, and they are actually buying the engines for the competition without flying first. So this is our penetration of the market, starting with the early adopter, which is the emerging companies. And once we have proven the technology, which takes time in a space like in the medical sector, then we will go towards the more traditional market. And this way we will penetrate.
Space is no longer the frontier. Thank you. From Valencia, Arkadia Space. Thank you, guys. And now we don't travel far, we stay in Berlin, from the Technical University of Berlin, Fungtion, and will show us their great product with high-performance compostable materials. Come on stage, guys.
This is styrofoam. And we use over 12 million tons of it annually. And in the end, either clogs our landfills or worse, ends up in our oceans. The sad truth is, even most of this fancy helmet is actually styrofoam. I'm Jan, co-founder of Fungtion, and we develop biodegradable styrofoam substitutes in collaboration with fungi. We cultivate fungal mycelium on agricultural waste, forming a solid material that will grow into any shape. It's biodegradable and up to 20% more shock resistant. Hence our idea to make a compostable helmet shell as our first product. We sell our shells B2B for €5 a piece, leading up to a yearly revenue of about 25 million by 27. Our media presence led to a pilot project with UVEX and a collaboration with the Swiss Uni. Both will help us to realize our market entry. We've gained more traction, counting several customers in multiple scholarships and awards, and a continuously growing network of partners. I'll admit, the helmet market is not really the biggest, but our expansion potential is super huge. Once we've implemented our material in the helmet sector, we'll quickly expand into the other really big styrofoam markets. Basti and I led multiple mycelium materials projects, and Niren worked closely with Mohammed Yunus, where he learned to build a sustainable social business. Together, we aim to acquire 5 new customers annually, expand into packaging by 24, and to build 3 production facilities until 2030. To kick this off, we need 325K to hire staff and rent our own lab. This will be the next big step towards realizing our vision for our beyond, a world without styrofoam. Thank you.
Thank you, Fungtion. Ollie, please kick it off.
Well, thank you so much for the presentation. It's actually nice to see like a tangible product on the stage. The first question that really comes to my mind is, why do you go for the helmet market first? I mean, like, packaging is such a clear use case. Why did you decide for the helmet market?
The thing with the helmet market is that it builds trust to the product and us as a company. Us bringing our product into the helmet market will just get people to be like, okay, this is something that is actually working, and now like you can expand into all these other industries, for example, automotive. When it's in a helmet, it's way easier to get it into cars. And the packaging industry is something that we're like moving into simultaneously anyways.
Okay, I mean, like, if you go for the helmet industry, right? I mean, like, what everyone cares about is safety. Mm-hmm. They probably do not care so much about the material. Your innovation is mostly in material, right? And not so much in safety. This is probably a bit more shock resistant, it's probably a bit lighter, so you mentioned that. But I would assume probably there's other materials that could achieve that as well. I guess one of the core things that probably, at least I think about, is that there's so much more environmental consciousness right now. And every time you, I don't know, get a new flat screen or something, you have those tons of styrofoam in your packaging, and people are annoyed about it, right? This is where you probably would have the biggest impact. Yeah. Why wouldn't you do it now?
We're doing it now. We're having a first pilot project coming up. It's starting next year. Probably the product that we're packing then will be shipped in 24, the first ones. But the helmet was just really the idea because it's more tangible really for anybody, and you can see what the potential of the material is, that it can even protect your head, and so can the packing material.
So it's a bit sexier to bring a helmet on a stage than packaging.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we've also brought packaging, but yeah.
Yeah. How about unit economics? I mean, like, styrofoam is incredibly cheap and incredibly useful in that sense, right? How much does it cost you to produce like the same amount of material or to bring it into the same shape in terms of the pure material cost, but also in terms of the process cost around it?
For example, for the helmet, we'll start with, like it'll be double the price, but for packaging, and then the further we scale, like the lower the price we'll get. Like currently it's all in a tray fermentation, and we'll get into big batches in large fermenters. And at that point, the price will drop significantly towards the price of styrofoam, since like our material costs are super low. It's just waste products anyways.
Okay. And if you just want to optimize for having, let's say, a sustainable material for packaging or for helmets, why is fungus the best option?
Because it builds a network throughout the material, and that connects particles over larger distances, which leads to shocks being spread out more efficiently, which in turn gets a better shock absorption.
Cool. Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Fungtion. So the next startup will give us an opportunity to thank RWTH for this incredible event, bringing everyone to Berlin. So give it for RWTH. And now we welcome on stage RIIICO, Jan from RIIICO. He will explain to us how companies will plan their factories in the future and why he loves the letter I so much.
Thank you so much, Sven. Hi, stage 2. Good to see you all. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for the time already. So my name is Jan. I'm from RIIICO. And with RIIICO, we enable factory planning on synchronized 3D models of the future. Why is that important? Manufacturers today need to adapt faster. They need a faster go-to-market, and their factory layouts, well, let's say they're not really that digital most of the time. But you need accurate visual data to accurately plan how your assembly line might look out tomorrow, how the factory layout might be, and how the logistics way will look in the future. And you need to know that 5 minutes before you want actually to know what you want to produce on that. So time is on the essence, and if you have a digital model, it's mostly manually, and maintaining manual data, we all know how that goes. So that is where we come in. We utilize a technology that is a commodity by now. You can use this on with a 3D scanner, but you can also use it with an iPad Pro or an iPhone nowadays. We utilize 3D scanning data and our artificial intelligence to create a fully interactive 3D model of the factory, where you can then import CAD models, play around with your team on it, and really on a millimeter accurate level, see how your factory might look out tomorrow. The best part is you can all do that in one software, and it's super sustainable because you can just do a rescan and re-automate the visual data in the factory model. The team consists of different people from business and tech background, and we are now 10 people. Hi guys, thanks for listening. Awesome to have you on the team. They are all watching online right now. The tech is what sets us apart. Refining those 3D models by object detection of these assets, meshing them, and using Mending AI. When we look at the market, the business model currently is per square meter annually hosted, and we're looking at the automotive layout market. Go-to-market is pretty simple, establish a market, and then go deeper into manufacturing in digital twins. Traction, you can see here, and now I'm looking forward to the Q&A. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jan. Let's have your co-founder on stage, and now, Marc.
Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for the very enthusiastic presentation. I love it. While the sector itself is very boring and very traditional. You mentioned in the end, that was actually one of the first questions I wrote down, is like, which market are you going after first? Which type of industry? You said you're going after the automotive market, and I guess all of its suppliers.
Yes, so we're targeting the automotive market as the beachhead market because they are really under pressure to change their combustion engine to electrical cars. And that means a lot of changes in the factories. And then, of course, the suppliers are just the people coming behind or next to it. And yeah, that's the first market we're going. And with Volkswagen, we have already established a first connection there.
Okay. I mean, yes, the OEMs are under pressure. They all need to produce like 8% interest every year. So they have the pressure all on the suppliers. So, but how often do these factories actually replan their layout? I guess that's a question you get often.
Yeah, that's a question we get all the time, actually. And it's way more often than everybody of us expects. So if you have a big automotive factory out there that's been producing light parts for years and years after years, they have a team of like 30 people who are constantly changing all of the layout to get it more efficient. Mm-hmm. And what they are really looking for is have a solution how they can talk to their managers and get them into actually applying the layout changes they're pronouncing to them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's in the end like sort of the assembly lines that they're changing, or
yeah,
is it also the production lines? Yes,
yeah, the complete production line. So everything that's beyond the production line, everything that have to change in the building to do that. So assembly lines are part of that. You're even looking into the chemical industry as well. We talked to chemical industries partners out there, and we thought, well, you have a chemical plant, it's nothing to do that changes a lot, and they have like 500 to 2,500 changes a year in one plant.
Mm-hmm. And how do they plan this today? I mean, you touched on it slightly, but...
Yes, absolutely. So the very modern ones use CAD models, but that is very expensive and they are not according to reality. What we have found out in our interviews with partners is they actually use PowerPoint or Microsoft Visio for that. And some actually draw out like an A0 sheet of their layout and they start drawing with it on by hand. So by first pushing it to 2D and now delivering it via 3D models, we are really making a 10x on that planning case.
Okay. And you touched on the team as well, how's the team set up? Do you have everything like all the artificial intelligence that's needed, the sensors, everything comes from you or like?
Yeah, so we are a software company because scanning already is a community and our customers own these scans already. They have internal scanning teams. Mm-hmm. My co-founder Patrick has been in Silicon Valley at NVIDIA. So he's the AI guy who can really bring this to life. Felix has been in consulting. I've been in the business part. So yeah, with the awesome team, we have everyone we need to make this a good, awesome startup. Thanks.
Cool. Awesome.
Thank you, RIIICO.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, guys. So coming next on stage, the four arguably best-dressed men in this room from Milan. Let's give it to Polypack. You guys are showing us on-demand packaging solutions.
You can either here or here, doesn't matter. It's fine.
CEO of Optipack, and I have two questions for you. Firstly, have you ever ordered something online? And secondly, do you care about our planet? What do these two things have in common? You've already seen this. It's called overpackaging. It's when a shipped box is bigger than the contained items. According to Forbes, more than 25% of volume shipped worldwide is empty space. And companies waste more than $46 billion on this issue each year. Moreover, overpackaging is responsible for the CO2 emissions than all of Belgium annually. So what is the solution to this problem? The solution is box-on-demand packaging. It means having the right size box for your order. And our solution is to create an innovative machine which produces the perfect size box for each and every order. Our target customers are companies working in the outbound stage of logistics, and this is clearly a multi-billion-dollar market. Our business model is based on the product as a service framework, so we keep the ownership of the machine, collect periodic fees from our clients, and then rely on an industrial partner to assemble the machine upstream. The biggest effect of our machine's implementation is economic saving. Our clients can save 90 cents of euro per each single order produced. This is an incredible amount of money once scaled up to e-commerce volumes, and more than 30% of the total shipping costs. Finally, why would you invest in Optipack? Because it means to invest in an innovative machine which integrates new technologies and is not constrained by legacy investments as the competition. Finally, we are a very committed team with both economical and technical background. And I promise you, one day you will all live in an overpackaging-free world.
Thank you. Optipack. Thank you. Great, I mean, guys, 7 cents ahead. That's a new record. Elisabeth. Wow.
Thank you. 7 cents more for my questions. I think logistics is a really a cent industry where every fraction counts. What kind of packaging sectors do you target first? And with which kind of lot sizes does your solution play the biggest part?
Okay, if I understood your question right, our typical client would be like an Amazon logistic hub. Okay, so we're speaking of high volumes. And okay, I mean B2C.
Yeah, also there's definitely a lot of third-party fulfillment centers that people don't know about. People think, you know, just Amazon and Zalando. But in reality, Amazon, though it is the biggest player, only has 10% of market share on e-commerce. So there's plenty of potential clients out there.
Okay. What's the current status of your solution?
The current, you mean like the TRL, technology readiness level, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are between 3 and 4 because let's say that our machine is divided into 3 parts: cutting, box positioning, and then closing. We already validated the cutting phase, the positioning phase, but still our closing phase need validation.
Mm-hmm.
Between 3 and 4 for the TRL.
Have you challenged that idea and also your processing cost estimations with a guy from Amazon or DHL or whoever is in that sector?
With a smaller e-commerce B2C in Italy, we share some data, and they agreed that their data is an estimation of the cost savings.
Anyway, these cost savings were made with some conservative hypotheses, so it's not exaggerated, these 90 cents. They are right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and do you also deliver then, for example, a software that the other benefits that you mentioned on the slide, which sum up to the 90 cents, can be realized, like the optimal packaging in a truck, etc.?
Yeah, so we do both the machine itself and the software because it's proprietary. Because of that extra feature that we add on, which is the box optimization. In terms of packaging, well, placing the boxes onto the trucks, as of right now, it's done pretty randomly. Maybe one day it's also going to be optimized, but I mean, we're looking at the market needs right now, where that's a super interesting thing to look at in the future.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? I'm still coming back to the question about the cost comparison. What do you think makes your specialized solution more cost efficient than a standardized solution? Because looking at a lot of different sectors, standardization usually is the way to go to cost cuts.
Yeah, our machine
can answer in 3 sentences or less.
Okay, optimization of the cardboard, laser cutting, and integration of the machine.
Okay, thank you.
That was impressive. Thank you, Optipack. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
And now next we're coming to a team, if there should ever be a startup fantasy football league, they would be up for the Super Bowl, because I just love the title, the name. It's FiberTeam Photonic Solutions from Warsaw.
So, good afternoon. My name is Julius, and the FiberTeam Photonic Solutions is a deep tech startup. We started 3 years ago with a clear goal: development of fiber optic sensing systems. So this goal is crucial for Industry 4.0, where we need to measure as many parameters as possible. But the problem is that standard sensors cannot be employed everywhere. So the solution is a fiber optic sensor. Can you see it? Me neither. You can put it everywhere. Our solution is complete, from the device to the cloud. So our system will enable measurements at currently unreachable resolution, which is needed by the industry. Here is a use case example of a power industry device, and in each city there are hundreds of them. So our competition can be scalable or fast, but we do both. We use state-of-the-art mass-produced telecom components together with appropriate signal processing. By this, we achieve a production cost at around €200. So for some of our customers, we'll offer our innovative measurement as a service model. The business will pay only for what they need, establishing a long-term relationship with our company. So our main goal is to replace all the standard sensors with the better fiber optic ones, and the market is vast. So we are not only engineers, but also very close friends, and with our competencies and experience, we are ready to deliver our system. So we are looking for €200,000 to receive additional €500,000 as a European grant, and our project was already have been already positively verified. So making only 160 installations will allow us to guarantee the return of this capital. So right now, our partners are thrilled with the results of our last week's field tests. And yeah, thank you very much. Stay safe, and let's make measurements easy together.
Great. Love it, FiberTeam. Thank you, guys. Just stay there so that we see you in the live stream. Jasmin.
Thank you for your presentation. I hope you excuse my ignorance if I ask stupid questions, but I have never looked at the company that works with fiber optic sensors before. However, I tried to do some research, and I would like to understand where you are at the market. Because you want to produce and sell optical interrogators and offer a software as well as a cloud-based system for customers. I had a look at your homepage, and it seemed that you offer a type of intrinsic sensor that is able to measure temperature and strain, but there are, of course, also other sensors like extrinsic or chemical sensors or biosensors that work with fiber optic. So how big is your market? And is your interrogator like serving a smaller market than your software and cloud computing system?
So basically this is the whole thing. To every type of fiber optic sensor you need this or something similar. Right now our device works very, very fast compared to the competition. And first of all, it is much cheaper. It is much cheaper. Why? Because we know how to process photonic signals. We know how to acquire those because we know signal processing very well, all right? So these sensors, chemical and so on, this is all of our market. Julius, could you switch for the, yes, this slide. So as can you see, we want to develop our mini fab in 2024, all right? And the measurement as a service is not only a business model, but it is the way to acquire data from the places that it cannot be acquired right now, all right? We'll get those data, and in 2025, we will try to develop AI that will serve industry, all right? For instance, to check the powered electronic device that it has been shown on the previous slide, right? So this is all of our market.
How does your customer integrate the software and the product? Can you give a example from the industry? I mean, how would it work? How would you onboard the customer, and what is the customer then doing in his daily business?
Yes, aforementioned European Union grant has been given to develop a so-called modular platform. It will allow us to offer independently and very, very in cheap money, all right, a solution for every industry, all right? So the integration will be on our side. And I believe this modular platform is what will change the sensing, especially in fiber optics.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me say it one more time. FiberTeam Photonic Solutions from Poland. Thank you, guys. We're coming back to Vienna. My 4-year-old, objectively the cutest girl on this planet, objectively, of course, every dad says that. She recently got sick, and I told her, like, you have bacteria, and she said, show me one. And I mean, and then she's the daughter of a lawyer, so she argues with me all the time. And now we found the perfect solution. Holloid from Vienna, show us how the bacteria look.
Thanks. Holloid targets 3 megatrends. First one is renewable energy. Fossil fuels need to be replaced by renewable alternatives, such as biofuels. Think of methane produced by bacteria in bioreactors. The need for medicine rises day by day. Think about vaccines produced by bacteria in bioreactors. Healthy and good food. Think of beer, food supplements, or cultured meat produced by meat cells, algae, or yeast in bioreactors. So bioreactors and microscopic processes in general are at the core of these megatrends. But we need to understand these processes to make sure that the products are safe, affordable, and of consistent quality. At the moment, these processes are black boxes. Holloid shows what happens in bioreactors. We provide hardware for an industrial IoT solution and software as a service based on our proprietary algorithms. With this, we provide pictures and big data on the processes. We do this in line with a high throughput 24/7. So the production manager can steer the process without experts or even automate this. Our technology is based on a decade of research, and we have 3 patents. Our team includes the main inventor, then a veteran for microscopy development, an ex-venture capitalist, and a professor for nanobiotechnology turned serial entrepreneur. The market we tackle is larger than 7 billion euros, growing by more than 20% per year. We're looking for an investment of 2 million euros to tackle the market with our technology in the first half of next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Holloid. Time for Q&A.
Thanks a lot. Also very interesting, I think very interesting topic you're tackling there. One question I had was, are you simulating these processes, or are you just providing insights in terms of what's happening actually when these processes take place? So what's the concrete kind of insights the user gets out of it, essentially?
Yeah. We see stuff that's happening in real time. So it's tiny microscopes that we can install diverse in production lines, and then we show what's happening. And currently, there's often a day of delay when people take a small sample, go to the microscope, an expensive lab analyst analyzes the probe, and there's a delay, and that costs money.
Is it just the speed, or are you also reducing the amounts of samples they have to take, and you're essentially speeding up the process by doing less samples, essentially?
Yeah, we are taking more samples, but automatedly. So you have shorter intervals, and you lose less in between. So you know all the time what's happening, and thereby you can be much more efficient. And currently, pharma companies, for example, waste millions a year because they have contaminations in the bioreactors.
Okay, and do you also want to go into simulating what's going to happen, or will there always be the physical process in parallel to obviously your, your visibility platform.
Yeah. We are in the second part, like seeing what's really there. I think based on the wealth of insights we generate, we could feed a system that can help to predict things, but that's not our core activity. Okay.
And obviously looking at the sale to pharma companies, often also very difficult in terms of the approval that you need to have as a software in order to be licensed to be used within a drug development process. Where do you stand on that side?
That's why we're not focusing on pharma at the beginning. That's why we're focusing on energy, food, and other less regulated markets.
Okay, and is it applicable across markets, across industries, or is there a focus needed initially in order to really have the product at an accuracy level which is required?
The core technology is transferable, and we want to create it in a way that it's very transferable. The AI that can be put on top to automate things and automate image recognition, this will be more a case by case, and that's also why we target the easier markets in the beginning.
Okay. You said you have a couple of patents also. Where do you stand commercially? Do you already have first pilot customers, LOIs signed up?
There will be a pilot starting at the beginning of next year, and we have a full pipeline of interested customers.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Holloid from Vienna. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now a big warm welcome to our friends from Estonia, from the University of Tartu, UP Catalyst. Oh, you better get a mic. Or you just yell very loud.
Yeah, hello.
Hey, come on.
Thank you. Yes. I'm Gary Erb, and I'm from Up Catalyst. Up Catalyst is making something that will significantly change our lives in the near future. Up Catalyst is making sustainable carbon nanomaterials for making better energy storage solutions. As you might know, there is currently rapid growth of battery manufacturing in the world, and especially in Europe. And by 2013, it's estimated that will rise 50 times than today. And one of the main raw materials needed is graphite. And currently the graphite mines are in China and made from toxic materials. And our plan is to bring this production to Europe. We have a great solution for that. Our technology allows us to take CO2 emissions directly from the local industries and turning these to highly valuable carbon nanomaterials and graphite for making sustainable batteries and supercapacitors. We have huge market potential. We have already secured several LOIs, and when we scale up our production, we are ready for producing our products for large-scale battery manufacturers. Our progress is really fast. We have made already first production scale-up, and we are going to make second production scale-up already next year. And we are looking for investment, 500,000 euros, which we will match up with a grant that we have received already, 1 million euro, and this 1.5 million will go for sales, marketing, IP protection, and production scale-up. We have really great team to make it all in success. We have in the team a background from the research and science, and also from many years from industry. I'm Gary Erb from Up Catalyst. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary, from Up Catalyst. Ollie.
Well, Gary, thank you so much for the presentation. Very exciting topic. I first have to ask a question to make sure I truly understand what you guys are doing. So in the end, the big value that comes out of your process is the new carbon materials that you produce for battery production. So it's an advanced material for batteries?
It's advanced material it's advanced conductive additives that are made sustainably and made for battery manufacturers. So first we provide the carbon nanotubes, carbon nanospheres for as a conductive additives for battery manufacturers.
What kind of material are you replacing there?
We are, the future will be that actually the graphite part, some of the graphite part will be replaced with carbon nanotubes and carbon nanospheres to get the battery conductivity better. So to get the range of your electrical vehicle longer and the charging speed better. So That's the first case, but we have the technology to make also the graphite part, so we can, let's say, replace quite a huge part from the battery with our materials. So one electrical vehicle right now, average electrical vehicle contains about 70 kilograms of graphite.
Okay, so it's basically two things then, right? First, you have like an efficient way to create nanotubes, for instance, for the battery production.
Yes.
And this is improving battery life, I assume.
Yes.
Right? And then the other thing is that you also have the process to take it out of existing industrial processes, right? So you're capturing the CO2.
Yes.
It sounds a little bit like it's two businesses at once. Is it necessary to capture the carbon the way you're capturing right now to produce the carbon materials?
Yes. That's like, with our technology, it's possible to, first of all, capture the carbon and also to make carbon nanomaterials. So what we will do, we will license that technology to the large CO2 emitters, these large production units that will emit CO2, and we will license the part of the technology to them, and then part of the technology that actually will remain on us. So we will still be the producers of carbon nanomaterials and then selling it to the battery manufacturers. So we will be the company who is producing and selling.
Understood. And then last big question from my side is, I mean, in this entire industry, there's billions of dollars of investments going into it, a large chunk actually going into material science.
Yes.
What have you figured out that the other large corporates have not figured out yet?
So actually there has been, there is like, let's say, the technology itself, the electrochemical technology itself, known for years. But the trick is about what kind of electrolytes to use, what kind of electrodes to use, what materials are these were made, and also what kind of end products you're going to make for battery manufacturers, that these are really specially custom-made and proper products for battery manufacturers. So there's the trick, and we have solved that.
Thank you so much. Just on time.
Thank you, Gary, from
Thank you.
Catalyst from Tartu. Next on stage, once again from Vienna, Noreja, in our... ideally, you guys take a microphone with you. I mean, it just makes it more helpful. And in our conversation prior to your presentation, you explained to me what you guys are doing, and I said, okay, there's data, there's optimization, there's mining, and then I realized I still don't get it, so thank you.
I will explain it, Hello guys, my name is Lucas, and I will show you today how we can enable companies to lift their process management to the big data era. So imagine you're the CEO of a small or mid-sized company, and somebody asks you about problems in your business. And usually you hear things like, I have angry customers due to late delivery. I have empty shelves due to missing supply. Or I have to accept half-empty trucks due to inefficient logistics. And actually, most of the CEOs are not really aware of the fact that most of those problems are attributable to bad business process management. And the data they have inside the organization has a huge potential to improve that. So how do we cope with this problem? We offer a cloud-based solution with a new and innovative approach to process mining that is based on graph database technology. That provides real-time KPIs for better decision-making, data-driven process models to spot bottlenecks and compliance issues, but also advanced process analytics for root cause analysis and optimization recommendations. And who are the people behind Noreja? Our team consists of Philip. He has a PhD in computer science. He knows the tech. We have Jan. He's a uni professor, and he has a huge network. Marcus, he's our boundary spanner to the customer. And myself, I have a background in consulting, and I can sell the product. And now I want to give you a little bit of background. Noreja was founded in March 2021. We already developed our first MVPs and will start with our first customer in this November. But also we just recently raised 250,000 capital. And here at stage 2, we are already looking ahead to our next financing round scheduled for the beginning of 2023. And now I will show you why this is important for you, because we have a strategic partner with a large ecosystem that we want to serve with your investment. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm happy to hear some questions.
Marc.
Thanks for the presentation. I think everyone in the room knows process mining, and one company always comes to mind when we're in Germany at least. So how are you different than other process mining companies?
We think we differentiate in 2 points. First of all, our technology, because we have a different technological basis that is based on graph data technology. And also we developed a new kind of algorithm because this project, or this startup actually came out of a research project that is going on for over 4 years. And during that project, we developed a new kind of algorithm. That is, in academia, you call this multidimensional process mining or object-based process mining, which we think is the next big tech trend in process mining.
And so, do you partner with any like data providers, typical ERP systems in the company that, or how do you access the data?
Yeah. Actually, I run a little bit out of time with this last slide. Maybe you recognized it. Yeah, we think this is one of our biggest advantage. We have one strategic partner here in red. You can see that this ecosystem. It's an Austrian ERP company, and we basically also Marcus that I introduced is is the CEO of that company, and he's also now the investor and part of our company. And this is actually our first ecosystem that we want to enter. Yeah, this smaller red ecosystem that you see here, and this Austrian company is actually part of an even larger ecosystem. The yellow one, and this is actually the second stage that we want to enter, also with the investment that we could get here at stage 2.
Okay, understood.
And of course, out there we have millions of small and mid-sized companies that have a potential for process digitalization.
Mm-hmm. And are you? How big is the market still? Like, are these companies still struggling, like, sort of with the same, process, like mining issues, or like, is there some end to it? Like, will they all have this like technology eventually, and then, it's just saturated and?
Actually, we realized that for larger companies, they get a little bit more sophisticated with that stuff. Also, you mentioned Celonis and the other competitors. They are more or less focused on these large Fortune 500 companies. But we realized that especially small and mid-sized companies are more or less, they even never heard of that topic. Mm-hmm. So there's a huge potential. And yeah, there are millions of small and mid-sized companies out there that can use such a software.
Yeah. And so how affordable is it for them to use this, your solution?
So our pricing is based on so-called end-to-end processes. So we have a famous one like order to cash or purchase to pay. Those are these end-to-end processes. And yeah, they basically pay, currently our pricing is around 5,000 euros per year for a license for one end-to-end process. So in case they want to choose, usually they could choose 4 to 5. So we estimate with around 20,000 euros of licensing costs per year for a customer.
Okay, thank you.
From Vienna.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
And now, nerd joke ahead. You've all seen the movie from Marvel. From Romania, Heimdallr.
Hello everyone, I'm Cristi from Babeș-Bolyai University in Romania, and I represent Heimdallr, a real-time phishing detection service. Now, you may be asking yourself, what is phishing? Well, phishing is fraud brought to the authentication pages on the internet, when an attacker tries to copy an existing login page to steal passwords. The damages caused by a stolen set of passwords can get to data leaks, financial resources lost, and even impersonation. Now, you may be asking yourselves, if I have an antivirus, I'm safe, right? Well, no, you're not. Most antiviruses do not offer protection against phishing attacks, and the ones that offer are just inefficient. At the moment, we offer a Chrome extension, minimalist and efficient against phishing attacks that are more frequent, and they don't get detected that often. The users are notified in real time about the dangers ahead, and it is free of charge for them, but we also offer a pro subscription model. Now, how we do all this magic show? How a phishing attack is actually done. A user may receive a mail asking him to change the credential to his Facebook account. Now, the user may click on that link, and Heimdallr will warn him about the dangers ahead, blocking the suspicious page. And congratulations, your password is now safe. As there are 2.6 billion Google Chrome users, we calculate a $7.2 million euros per year, a service optimal market at a 5% conversion rate for our €2 per month pro subscription. At the moment, we are B2C, but we are planning on going B2B, as we already have the support of a company, Atos, We estimate we need 25k euros to reach a significant number of users. This is our young, agile, and dynamic team. And for the future, we're planning on release our own Android version. And that was Heimdallr. Thank you for your patience. And if you have any questions.
Thank you, Heimdallr. Elisabeth.
Thank you very much. I have a lot of questions, and I would like to start with the word effectiveness or efficiency. You mentioned that available systems are not effective enough or efficient enough. What do you mean with that?
Yeah, well, most of the systems that are active and fighting phishing right now are not really scanning the content of websites or are doing a very bad job at it. They count on saved URLs on most, and we scan any link, basically the content of any web page in real time.
Okay, thank you. What did you discover, or where did you discover the technology, and how are you going to commercialize that?
Well, we are planning on selling it to users on that for the B2C model to protect them against phishing. We did not discover anything. We took a look at a lot of phishing pages and found a lot of common things they all have. And basically, we searched for that.
Okay. Sometimes it's not the best technology or the number of people that wins a market, but sometimes it's marketing or access to market and scaling very fast. How do you plan to tackle that problem?
Well, if you mean on how we are planning on gaining users, we're planning on getting some Facebook ads and a really high number of people seeing our solution.
Okay. Do you think you can get into sales partnerships with people promoting or companies promoting you?
Yeah, perhaps. I said in the slides we have the support of a big tech company, Atos, and we are working with them on building a B2B solution, and we're looking forward to see what comes out of it.
Okay. And what do you think of the activities that companies like Cisco or Google are doing in that space? Because many of those large tech companies are actively continuing developing their solution.
Well, companies like Google fight against phishing, but they don't scan a web page in real time. They mark a URL as suspicious, and a significant number of users will already fall to that before it's actually important.
Don't they also have an open API where they have basically also run a list of URLs that are safe or not safe?
Yeah, they have that API, and a lot of the current solutions are counting on that API. But as I said, it's not in real time. They are storing those URLs. If someone pops out a phishing page right here and send it to anyone, it won't get detected. Not by antiviruses, not by Google, not by anyone, because that URL is not recognized by any of those I mentioned.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now, to all our participants, at 2 o'clock, you will get an email telling you who has made it into the final. So if I were you, I would better check my device at 2 o'clock. For the rest of us, lunch. And we're all going to meet again here in half an hour for the McKinsey panel. Thank you so much.